He'll turn that frown upside down. Tell that old headache to pack up and head out of town. Oh, what I need, take me to the CannaBama Queen. Take me down to the CannaBama Queen. Oh, good Lord, take me down to the CannaBama Queen. She's got in the CannaBama Queen. God save the Queen.
Well, I heard Miss Young sang about her. Said Sutherland don't need him around anyhow. But sweet home CannaBama's got a different sound, where cannabis knowledge is spread all over town. Jennifer Booz, oh yeah, if you know it's true. FM Top 106 on 5, she's and doing it well. Sweet home CannaBama, where the weed grows high. Sweet home mama beneath the southern sky. Sweet home CannaBama, where the knowledge flows. Sweet home CannaBama, where the good times grow. Now Citizen Green TV saw something special, yeah. Invited Sweet home CannaBama to their sphere. Reaching vets with wellness that's their aim. Spreading the word, easing the pain. And Gender's cause calling, they recognize the fame. Sweet home CannaBama's gonna play the game. With these attentions and connections, they'll take the stage. A new era's dawning, turn to the new page. Sweet home CannaBama, where the weed grows high. Sweet home CannaBama, beneath the southern sky. Sweet home CannaBama, where the knowledge flows. Sweet home CannaBama, where the good times go. For Mobile, Alabama, the message rings so clear. Cannabis education cast away the fear. With every broadcast, a seed they sow. Sweet home CannaBama, help the good times grow. Sweet home CannaBama, where the weed grows high. Sweet home CannaBama, beneath the southern sky. Sweet home CannaBama, where the knowledge flows. Sweet home CannaBama, where the good times flow. Roll on, CannaBama, roll on. Spread the word, let your freedom song be known. Sweet home CannaBama, yeah.
For Sweet Home CannaBama, a show that'll answer all your questions, provide accurate information, and dispel the myths of cannabis. And have your specific questions answered by emailing Jennifer@CannaBama.com or text or call 343-0106. And now, for all things cannabis in Alabama, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Jennifer Boozer, owner and founder of CannaBama in downtown Mobile. We are located at 558 St. Francis Street in downtown, just a block up from Wenzel's and Dauphin Street. Our phone number is 251-255-5155. We are on all the social media pages. Just look for Sweet Home CannaBama, and you can find Sweet Home CannaBama on Citizen Green TV. That is on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire Stick. So look for the episodes there. We're very excited. And tonight we got a chance to talk with Darwin Singleton at NBC 15 News. and do a little bit of an interview about the topic tonight, which is this hemp kill bill, SB 132. And we got to talk to Darwin about that, and we will be featured along with the show tonight on NBC 15 at 10 o'clock. So tune in tonight to see that. We're very excited to be able to add to that conversation and get the word out about what's happening in Alabama. So we appreciate Darwin and NBC 15 for coming in and getting some interviews with us. I want to go ahead and introduce my guest. We have an in-studio guest, which is not the norm for us. So I'd like to introduce my friend John Fisher, who is an attorney across the Bay in Daphne. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good to be here.
Yeah, so real quick, before we get into our topic, I want to remind everybody that the Boom Boom starts this week. It's Monday. We have 4 days. The first parades start Friday, which is also Valentine's Day. And speaking of Valentine's Day, guys, we have the flowers your lady really wants. Roses die, cannabis burns. What more argument is there? We have edibles, we have chocolates, we have drinks, we have anything that you could need to help your sweetheart chill out this Valentine's Day and to enjoy the parades. This year, we will be reviving our pop-up shop along the parade route called the Boom Boom Room. So if you are out at the parades down near Bienville Square at Dauphin and Conception, we will be out in force. You'll see the Boom Boom Room signs. We will have single gummies, single joints, vapes, weed beads, all kinds of fun stuff. We had a great time out with the people. So for every parade that's scheduled, we will be out there. And of course, we'll be down at the store, and we have lots of great parking and places to use a bathroom down there too. Really close to the parade route. We hope to see you guys, all your friends and family, all the tourists down at CannaBama for the Boom Boom Room here during Mardi Gras through March the 4th. So that starts this Friday night. Come and find us. We'll have everything you need. So, yeah, we're really excited about that.
I bet. Sounds like it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to being a part of it for the first time, at least just to observe it.
Yes. And we're attempting to get out on some wheels as well. We don't have it locked down yet, but don't be surprised if you find me behind you honking the horn and waving all over downtown in the Boom Boom Room. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to that. John, you're an attorney. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, like you said, I'm an attorney. I live in Fairhope, practiced law for right about 28 years now in Alabama. Lived in the northern part of the state for 22 years, practiced actively pretty much every day. And then my wife and I moved to Hawaii for 5 years. Still practice law remotely from Hawaii, and then did some other stuff. And
wow, Hawaii.
Yeah.
I've never even been. Wow, man, waking up and to live and work there every day.
You know, it's a special place.
I can imagine. I think that's one of those bucket list places that everyone has on their bucket list.
And they should. It's worth it.
They have a robust hemp and cannabis industry out there.
Absolutely, and that's actually what's pretty much changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. I mean, before then it was, just what I knew from around here. But
right. Well, and we didn't have a whole lot until 2018, and with the inception of the Farm Bill, and we didn't even wait for that. We knew that was coming, but we knew the people of Alabama needed access to information and products, and I just didn't want to wait.
No, and I mean, and thanks to people like you, we shouldn't have had to wait. But it is an educational process, and
right.
There's a lot of information and a lot of bad information that needs to be dealt with, and
right.
It's just a sensitive subject.
Right, it is, and it's controversial in large part due to the propaganda efforts 85 plus years ago that we still every single day hear something reefer madness in our day, and
right.
It's really crazy. I shared a map of the country that showed only 9 states don't have any kind of cannabis, and Alabama was one of them that was not gray.
And
which can we celebrate that for a little bit? You
have to ask yourself, and we were just talking earlier, how is it now,
right,
that 40 plus states
yep.
have if it is really still so bad, States don't want to hurt people. They don't want to do bad things. They're not legalizing fentanyl.
No.
They're not legalizing heroin.
No.
They're not legalizing cocaine. No, it's marijuana. And it's like, just everybody take a step back and look. If these guys in these other states, politicians, elected officials,
right,
they have approved of this.
Right.
So then maybe it is time that everybody takes a little bit of a step back and realizes there does need to be a little bit bigger conversation. And
right,
everybody has to look for the truth.
Well, and I like to bring up our sister state, Mississippi. You know, we have a lot of similar problems. My friend Hardy Case is man, he's down, he's online, he's really after it. He is a man after my own heart with his passion. And we talk a lot. And one thing that Mississippi has that we don't have is that 74% number. They know that 74% of the voters in Mississippi wholeheartedly approved of cannabis. And even though the Supreme Court in Mississippi threw that bill out and they gave it to the legislators, those legislators knew 74% of my constituents want this. I don't have a choice.
Right.
And I say, good on you, Mississippi. We don't have that number on anything here. Well, ballot initiatives don't exist here.
I think, though, I think we do have the number. It's that people aren't willing to
have an official count.
Right.
That the legislators will actually look at.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate because this is something that is good and it's for everyone. And
right.
You know, one day.
All right. And so tonight we want to talk about law enforcement. We want to talk about legislation. We have had some incidences. I know I've had a couple of customers have run-ins with the law and had run-ins with the law and had their businesses taken from them and all of those things that we live with as a reality in the industry. And I think the disconnect communication between the industry and law enforcement and legislators needs to be fixed, because none of us who are here legitimately want to break rules. We're not trying to get away with anything. And we need to figure out how to work with law enforcement and with our legislators and create common sense legislation. So rules to win, the rules are broken, there can be consequences, and the rest of us don't have to collectively suffer. And that means states that are facing the same thing, they depend on these products.
I think that
100%.
It's going to be like that for a long time. And everybody,
a very nice state trooper, and I had my CannaBama license plate and my logos on the side doors, and I thought maybe that wasn't the best decision. But you know, he actually wanted to ask me, would I be willing to come to Montgomery and talk to the state headquarters of the state first and help them, because they don't want to falsely arrest people and waste taxpayer money, time, or take time away from actual crimes. And of course I said yes, and then I never heard from the state troopers. But in case any are listening, to do that, we don't want side of the law. We want to be so comfortable within the law that we know we can wake up every day, conduct our business like a shoe store, right, or a gas station or a bakery or anybody else. That's all we want.
And that's all that anybody wants, right? It's just a fair share, fair shake, and give everybody the same chance.
Right. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk more about law enforcement and legislation with John Fisher. Stay with us. At CannaBama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems. Let no human be excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, celebrate. Find us at CannaBama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit Native Black Cultivator. Most lobbyists, cannabis, autism, epilepsy, and small business. We fight for you in Montgomery. For information on current and future federal and state legislation, including S 4226 Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act and S 980 Industrial Hemp Act Farm Bill 2024, visit the website mullenslobbyistfirm.com and follow us on social media. Is there a cause or issue you want to see changed or would like to get support for? Let us help you. Email al4medicalcannabisfreedom@gmail.com.
Hey, Alabama football fans, are you headed up to T-Town this fall for the game? If you forget to come by CannaBama first, you can Calusa's first hemp dispensary, Freedom CBD, and are ready to hemp you out with all your tailgate needs. Follow Freedom CBD and Wellness on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Roll Tide.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the info, your host.
Talking with John Fisher, who is attorney in Fairhope here locally, and we're talking about interaction between law enforcement and consumers, as well as legislation that involves Alabama. Let's talk a little bit first about consumers at arrest. This doesn't happen nearly as much anymore, and I think it's in part because of our education efforts, our events where we do public consumption, normalization efforts, and things like that. But there are times when people get pulled over. People are going to do what they want to do. They're going to consume their cannabis in their car. That's the big one. Or out in public. And we've had lots of things, we've had issues where the sheriff wanted to crack down on public consumption because it was offensive. And we appreciate that, and yes, law enforcement needs to be able to, that could be contaminated with God knows what. And I need to arrest the people who are bringing this into the community. Or is this a legitimate product? Because when you look at the actual flower, you cannot look at it or smell it and tell a difference.
Yeah, no, I think that it all goes back. I keep saying this, but it's education. And we're taught it during the break.
Right.
And I invited some people to listen to the show, hoping to introduce some other people to the concept.
Right.
It starts at cannabis, but cannabis subdivided into two categories.
Yes, it is.
And I think that's where the big breakdown comes from. Everybody lumps it all into the same category. We're talking about hemp, not marijuana.
That's right. We're not talking about illegal product. We are talking about federally legal and protected even. Yes. I mean, it's a felony to interrupt interstate traffic of what is considered a commodity. Because it's called hemp, because it meets that federal legal requirement of 0.3% Delta 9 or less by dry weight. And that's all constituents of the plant, as long as it comes from the natural plant. And that is in standard.
Problem now is years ago when people were creating or drafting laws.
Right.
There was no such thing as hemp or marijuana.
There was not.
Cannabis was all lumped into one category. Yes. Fast forward 50 years. It's like before there was non-alcoholic beer, there was no such thing as non-alcoholic beer.
That's right. It had to be created and defined.
It is less than 1/10 of 1% of alcohol.
Mhm.
Right? And so it is defined. And that's the same thing.
Which means it has a trace. It can have a trace.
Yes.
Defined acceptable.
That's right. Right.
And you don't have to be 21 to have it.
Correct. And so then you fast forward, and now you have almost 90% of the states in the country legalizing marijuana, some form or fashion or another, medicinal or recreational.
Right.
And you have the 2018 Farm Bill that actually defines hemp, just
Very
like
clearly.
non-alcoholic beverages. Hemp less than 0.3% of Delta-9 THC.
By dry weight.
Yes, and it has to be tested within 2 weeks of harvest, right?
Mhm.
And that's another problem people don't understand. But if it meets that definition, then by federal law, it's not marijuana, and it's okay.
And by state law,
Yes.
there is a law in Alabama that says industrial hemp is excluded from the definition of marijuana and therefore not a substance.
It's not a scheduled narcotic.
It is not a scheduled narcotic. That's to SB 132. We'll go ahead and introduce that here, and we're going to bounce around on these things. But SB 132 dropped on our heads pretty much every morning. We wake up to SB 132, and I've mentioned that we hear rumblings that something is coming.
Right.
We knew that especially given Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, Texas, Georgia, all of these states that are now coming out with these crazy ban bills and extreme, but we knew it was coming. And so basically, this bill will define psychoactive. There's a word we have fun.
Right.
Cannabinoids, another important word. As control, they want to control it and put it in the same controlled category as heroin, LSD, one. Just like marijuana is federally. I feel like we're going backwards.
It would if that were to go through, that would definitely be a step back. And the question that I have is Tennessee purpose behind the legislation. I mean,
right.
I really don't think that the senator that sponsored this bill really, I don't think he really wants to put people out of bed.
I don't think that.
And I think that there you have graciously acquired some legislation.
We have.
And, we've talked about why would someone introduce this? Well, you got a lot of different reasons. We don't know who's behind it. Hemp not available because it helps the bottom line to the medicinal business.
Yes, sir, it does.
Now, I'm not suggesting that's going on here, but let's quit being naive and don't act like politics play.
I could be so bold to speak for some of my friends to say that in states like Missouri, that is absolutely what is happening, and they are very vocal about that. That it is the medical cannabis lobby that is now that all their legalization passed, just like here in Alabama.
Once they got all the licenses, now that they get the licenses, and they're the only ones that can provide it to the public.
Right. Now they want to pare down the competition. We have some free market. We have taken what's available and exponentially made it better and made it more accessible and more affordable. And we've revolutionized freedom of choice. And that I don't know how you put that back in the toothpaste tube.
Well, hopefully it doesn't have to go back. As time progresses, I believe that people are going to get more educated and they're going to see the benefits. I mean, when you have Johns Hopkins and other universities, I mean, Mississippi, my God, the university system
UAB.
Over there, Alabama State now has programs for cannabis cultivation and hemp cultivation. So you can't come in and go backwards completely, right? It may take longer than we want. But at some point it's going to march forward and it should. But because people need to understand that what this offers is so much more than what we've been sold.
Exactly.
And that's the frustrating part for me is
and I think that's what's frustrating to me, knowing all of the possibilities within cannabis medicine products that should and could be available. And then we pick 5 things.
Oh, that's,
methods of consumption are as unique to the individual as their disease.
Yeah, I have some feelings about the Medical Cannabis Act, if you will, the bill in Alabama. I lived in Hawaii for 5 years where medical cannabis is legal. I had a knee replaced and actually went in there 3 separate times. And it was interesting to have a Western practicing orthopedic surgeon who, after he and I shared a candid moment, I don't like make my head itch. They don't do much. And after a few days of ibuprofen with a new knee, it just doesn't work. And to have a guy who...
Not for your stomach.
No. Well, to have a guy who looks like me, talks like me, educated in the same places as me, look at me and say, well, have you been to the medicinal marijuana doctor for pain management? No, you never... No, no, I haven't. No, my mother would beat me, sir. And so, but I mean, these guys, they just plug it into the conversation. To them, it's normal. If I did this, I was going to go to hell. And if I was going to hell, I better go armed. I changed my life. When I went and met, I was explaining Dr. Green, the doctor of all
names. I love it.
And he was from New Orleans, and he had come there after. Came after Katrina, but we focused initially on the pain on my knee, right? But then we talked about other things, and I mean, it was interesting. PTSD, some things that I'd been through, and you just begin to realize, well, maybe that explains why I fifth of whiskey every 4 days.
Hey,
right?
Maybe so, right? Yeah, maybe. Well, for me, I was 3 years clean from a pain pill addiction.
Right.
I loved pain pills.
Sure.
Loved them. Ate them like Skittles.
Yeah.
That didn't work well for me. It did not do anything good for my life, for my health, or for my body or my brain. And I'm like you, when I started learning how to explain it to my mother. My mother taught kindergarten for 30 years. And, like I said on the last show, she could sniff a margarita and get drunk. Right. We went to church. We didn't go to the bar. We didn't do that. And so I had to explain it to her, and having to learn it to explain it to my mother, the kindergarten teacher and Assembly of God worship leader.
Right.
I had to really learn it, and it set something off in me that I still can't shut up about it. And I never get tired of learning. And I tell people all the time to take word for it. Like the Bible, you got to read it for yourself.
That's right.
You got to know it for yourself and experience it in an intimate way, and then you'll never shut up.
I'm an open book.
We'll be right back with more with John Fisher. Stay with us.
FM Talk 1065, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
Gulf Coast can expect mostly cloudy, upper 50s at daybreak. For Tuesday, coming partly cloudy. Look for a few showers with temperatures in the mid-70s. And the outlook for Wednesday, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy with showers and highs in the upper 70s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 1065.
I'm Roseanne Hayden from WKRG News 5. An Alabama lawmaker wants to limit your child's access to social media. A bill in the State House would deny access to children 16 and younger. Allowing a child to create an account could cost any social media platform fines of up to $50,000. Longtime UMS Wright head football coach Terry Curtis is set to retire after 5 decades of coaching. Curtis is expected to officially announce his decision tomorrow morning. A local fixture is scheduled to be renovated renovated in Foley. The former Alabama National Guard Armory behind City Hall is getting a nearly $2 million facelift, becoming a place for city recreation and office space. The 16,000 square foot facility was donated to the city after the National Guard moved to a new space near the Foley Beach. RG News 5. Local coverage you can count on.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more. Mullins Lobbyist Firm is Alabama's frontline lobbyist team specializing in cannabis, autism, epilepsy, and small business. We fight for you in Montgomery S 4226 Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act and S 980 Industrial HIPT Act. Farm Bill 2024. Visit the website Mullins Lobbyist to get support for. AL4 Medical Cannabis Freedom at gmail.com.
Hey, Alabama football fans, are you headed up to T-Town this fall for the game? If you forget to come by CannaBama first, you can shop at Tuscaloosa's first hemp dispensary, Freedom CBD and Wellington Street, just a mile up from campus. They have the largest selection of products in West Alabama and are ready to hemp you out with all your tailgate needs. Follow Freedom CBD and Wellness on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Roll Tide. At CannaBama, we believe that CBD is for everyone. Our no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference in our chemical and electrical systems let me excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at CannaBama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the information you want about cannabis, here's your host, Jennifer Boozer.
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're talking with John Fair, who is an attorney in Fairhope. We're talking now about SB 132, which I have affectionately dubbed the hemp kill bill, because I need people to understand that while we feel like we can compromise on this with Senator Melson and come up with some common sense legislation, this bill is scary to us.
Well, and it is. And you use it, looking at his bill, first of all, do we know why? I mean, he
is a physician as well, and,
Sure.
and a great proponent of the medical cannabis program here in Alabama. He is the champion of that legislation, and he worked very hard for it. And we know that he has put forth other the mess
Right.
that has become our very embarrassing cannabis program, and hopefully get it off the ground finally.
As a side note, I had a conversation with him about 5 years ago when they were wrangling.
Which is when we legalized.
Yeah, while they were
right
doing that,
before
I was
that.
living in Hawaii, and a group of them had me advocating for Big Island grown dispensaries on the Big Island. They were trying to come over and sort of act in an advisory role. And I actually had a couple of conversations. So I have a lot of respect for him and appreciate what he did in that regard.
Absolutely.
Right.
We all do.
So I think that if public safety is the genesis
that is
of
what
this,
we're getting. That for the consensus from people that's home to him is public safety. Senator Melson has expressed that he wants to make sure we are keeping this out of the hands of kids. And I know that applies not just to him, but to Miss, because once the ever is purchased at, whether it be CannaBama or Up in Smoke or Freedom CBD and Wellness or Magic City in Birmingham or Mountaintop Dispensary in Huntsville Nashville or any of these other places that you can currently buy hemp or the medical available. Once they leave those stores, it is the responsibility of the parents.
Well, I mean, it's
to keep it away from their children, just like they keep alcohol, we hope.
I was going to say,
and nicotine and any other prescription drugs that could be harmful.
We're acting as though this is some brand new concept.
Right. It's not a brand new concept.
No one wants anything harmful in the hands of kids, from hammers to anything in between. So let's just be honest. This is not about advocating for kids to get their hands on things that they shouldn't.
No, and none of us. I don't know a single person in this country, in this industry, and I know a few people. I don't know anybody that sits around going, how do we get kids to buy this?
No. The only children, anything like this is under medical
Many children in Alabama right now today whose brains will continue to be damaged and deteriorated by seizure activity. And I have customers with kids that have 400 seizures a day some days. 200 is a good day. And this stuff works for them. And there's not medical cannabis available yet.
I've got a good friend of mine, Kurt Anderson. He's a magician. Actually, you need to look him up. He's his son Ty has been wrought with seizures his whole life. And I think Kurt would tell you that it's the best things ever they found.
Well, of a 5-year-old held by her throat to wall. He said, I don't care if it's heroin.
Right.
He saved my wife from being choked against the wall by her innocent child because he doesn't have the ability to not do that. I'll try anything.
Sure.
Those are the people we want to help.
Right.
The kids we want to have
conversation, because it's not an argument. It's, like I said, I go back to education, people understanding what they're dealing with and knowing the truth.
And most people that you talk to, even people who are not interested in any way consuming themselves, they appreciate the value that it has and a little Lexapro and not have any problems. Mm-hmm. That is not the case for everyone.
And
it's not the case for most people.
And listen, I use the routes. You mentioned earlier, and I laugh about it, and I really, I don't know maybe that I should, but I heard some people make the smell of the smoke go on, and offended by the smell of it. And I thought, well, I used to smoke cigars ad nauseum, and I know those get obnoxious. But then I thought, it's too bad that Wellbutrin and Lexapro and Paxil and Xanax
don't smell what they do.
It's a shame that they don't have an odor. Get them any differently. I don't know.
Right.
But I know so many people that no longer use Paxil or Xanax or Wellbutrin or Lexapro because of alternative medications. And I mean, that's not for you, but just don't make it unavailable for everyone.
Right.
Because you don't either like it or don't understand it.
Right. Right. Because what if we didn't understand your Lexapro? Realistically. And an entire group of people decided to throw millions of dollars behind keeping you from the only thing that gives you a normal quality of life.
And that's the thing, and if you just want to look at the common sense arguments, right? I said, I learned it as I was studying up on cannabis. Everything else is synthesized that we take. Even alcohol.
Synthesized. They're chemical versions. They're synthesized versions of chemicals and patent it and monopolize it and put it out there at 10 times the cost.
Right.
I just look at chemo, man. dying costs and by.
Well, and it's hard for people to understand. Like I happen to know a gentleman in Hawaii who I learned from. He makes cannabis oil. I have seen scans. I have seen MRIs that he showed me of people that he follows. Their prostate cancer is no match for this stuff in a capsule.
I have so many stories that I cannot talk publicly because I am not a medical professional. I'm talking gives me chills 5 years later just to bring it up.
Well, I'm just saying, John.
I have seen miraculous things. You have seen. You come back from.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, and you know, John Scott. I hope one day he hears this. He's in his 80s. He showed me a lot, and he's been doing this for 60 years.
Right.
And how?
Well, it kills me that we know that the U.S. government has funded out of the 1960s. Dr. Raphael Mechoulam discovering the molecular structure of THC, the endocannabinoid system. The American government has been fully aware and funding all of that research. So every time someone in a white coat or a legislator stands up on and says there's not enough research,
Well, I mean, there's a lot.
People need to understand there's absolutely enough research.
There is. And like I said, if people start peeling back the layers and asking, why is it that this is such a bad thing?
Right.
I mean, for God's sakes, I can grow it in my backyard. It's fun to understand that.
And people need to understand whether they realize it or not, they're being sold.
Yeah.
It is absolutely.
And you know, I just hope that folks that are in charge can get beyond some of that stuff.
Yes.
And really begin to listen.
Stop. And to me, I imagine that being Senator Melson, he's probably got so many people. This isn't what the public safety thing. We agree with that. We want to regulate.
Right.
You know, we want to have rules to follow, like we said.
Right.
I actually with the Alabama Association, we have been for we could maybe get ahead of this, but that didn't happen. We've had trouble getting people to talk to us. And so, we would need someone to sponsor that, but we do have an alternative bill.
Right.
A consent legend that anyone under 21 even has access to the building. We want to make sure that there is a license and a fee paid by anyone who wants to sell these products, so that the state ag department and can click and see who is selling these products and check on them, because we're okay with being checked on.
Sure.
Come and see about me.
Well,
please.
we
welcome it.
We keep using the term regulator. I know we're going to get coming up on a break before long. We can talk about it.
Absolutely.
But you understand.
Pause.
Yeah, I mean, it is defined and regulated at a federal level, and all we're talking about doing is making that same regulation available at the state level, and
right.
And
providing some infrastructure and some rules, and some. We don't want to be the wild west. I hate that term with everything in me, and I get sick of hearing it, and it's been 7 years. We do not want to work in chaos.
No.
We don't want to do that. And we don't want.
And you mentioned the word compromise. I don't think working well to make sure there's a public safety issue and that everyone that's supposed to have access to it does, and those that don't. I don't think there's a compromise.
We're going to finish up with John Fisher. Stay with us.
Mullins Law Lobbyist Firm is Alabama's frontline lobbyist team for you in Montgomery. For information on current and future federal and state legislation, including S 4226 Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act and S 980 Industrial Hemp Act Farm Bill 2024, visit the website mullenslobbyistfirm.com and follow us on social media. Let us help you. Email AL for medical.
This first hemp dispensary, Freedom CBD and Wellness on 15th Street, just a mile up from campus. They have the largest selection of products in West Alabama and are ready to hemp you out with all your tailgate needs. Follow Freedom CBD. Roll Tide at CannaBama is for everyone. Our demographic is human. There's no race, age, gender, socioeconomic, education, or religious difference excluded. We work hard to create an environment of learning. Our goal is to bring together all people in need of help while celebrating each moment of relief. Educate, advocate, unify, and celebrate. Find us at CannaBama.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
Native Black Cultivation is a true pioneer in Alabama's cannabis industry. As the first medical cannabis company to harvest in the state, they're committed to producing quality, sustainable cannabis. Native Black Cultivation blends integrity, innovation, and inclusivity to ensure every product from the farm meets the highest standard of quality and safety. Their mission extends beyond cultivation, focusing on social and economic change through education and community engagement. Visit nativeblackcultivation.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Sweet Home CannaBama. Now with all the...
Welcome back, everybody. Tonight, we've been talking with Don Fisher, who is a local lawyer here in Forest. We've had some people around the state who have had their businesses raided, and I think that, again, that comes down to communication, education, information exchanged between people in the industry and law enforcement and legislators. I don't see a world where we shouldn't all be in the same room together at some point, at least some representatives from each of these people groups, because we are all absolutely wanting.
Right. And, you know, well, situation go, laws need to catch up with everything else.
Yeah.
Laws involve criminal activity and things need to, like we talked about 50 years ago.
If it looked like weed, smelled like weed, was weed, we didn't have to discuss it.
And so now you have a situation that
they test them again.
right. And so they package that with a certificate of analysis that says this is hemp.
Yep.
And then some guy here like you buys this from a certified supplier.
Right. With the paperwork to go with it.
And all I do